we get a package. I'm pretty excited for this one. Now, if you haven't already seen my iPhone 8 open box video, please check that out. I'm gonna link it in the top right. But today, from the same seller, I ended up picking an open box iPhone X with a bad battery. Obviously, I'm more excited for this one because iOS 11 on the X is a little rarer than iOS 11 on the 8. And I've never had a open box X before. I have two iPhone X's. I have two 256 gig models. One is on iOS 14, one is on iOS 12, but I don't have one on iOS 11, obviously. And this one is also in my favorite color, the silver. Unfortunately, it is the lower 64 gig storage capacity, and it is carrier locked, and it has a bad battery, but I didn't pay too much for it, only about $120. Which is not too bad. I mean, once a new battery is in it, there's one open box from the same seller that's on iOS 12, that's $250. So if I can get the battery working, this is, you know, a $200-300 phone. So I already have the new battery, but I don't have a new waterproof seal yet. So whenever that comes, I'll install it. But I figured let's open it up and check it out and see what's going on. They did say bad battery, but you never know. Sometimes they are charging it with a low wattage adapter and it will just turn on with the right charger. So let's check it out and see what's going on. So reaching inside another envelope. And then inside that is the iPhone X. And it looks like it's still actually got its original plastic seal on here, which is pretty cool. Obviously it's been opened before, but let's go ahead and open it up. And there we go. So just a standard silver iPhone X 64 gig. I've never actually seen a box this clean. And obviously we have the original label there. I'm gonna set that wrap aside. But let's go ahead and open this up and take a look. I'm actually gonna lower my tripod real quick. And there we go. Let's go ahead and lift the box cover off. And we get that standard design by Apple in California. Set that aside. And we'll take a look at what we got here. So of course we have the hello, which was showing you actually how to use the iPhone X, because this would have been brand new at the time, and Face ID and the bezel-less kind of display was just introduced. So you have all of the guidance on how to use that. We do have a SIM ejector tool. My other two iPhone X's didn't come with this, so it's probably been taken out. But I have a million of these anyways, so it's okay. And then we got the warranty information and two Apple stickers. Let's go ahead and put these back and we'll take a look at the phone. And here we are. Of course, there's pretty much no fingerprints on this. And we have that original pull tab, so let's take it out. It's actually spotless, so I don't know. This is the silver model, which is the best one. I love the silver. You know, it's still in mint condition, no scratches whatsoever. Set that aside. And then we have the original accessories. That earphones are actually upside down. But you know, everything's in here, and this is actually slightly different from the other two iPhone X's I have. I believe the power brick was on the bottom, but I'm not 100% sure. I have to check that, but interesting. Let's go ahead and set that aside, and let's take a look at the phone here. So here we are. Obviously we gotta check if it has power. I'm assuming no, but I always gotta check. All right, so I do have a lightning cable here. This is hooked up to my Anker power station, which can do 240 watts total output. It can output a lot to an iPhone, but I don't know if that will get this to come on. It may need an OEM charger, but let's plug it in and I'll tell you guys if it's drawing any current, because it'll show up on my display over there. So with it plugged in, I do see it's actually drawing current. It's drawing about 0.4 watts-ish. It's actually drawing 0.4 watts and then just kind of shutting off. So, oh, there we go. We actually got a low battery. That's really weird because they were saying it had a bad battery, but it seems to be okay. I mean, that's crazy. Let's let this sit for a while. I'm gonna turn on a time lapse and we'll actually see if this boots up, because the 8 that I had, it was doing that kind of cycling power, but then it never came on. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like I said, I do have a new battery right here, so if we need to replace the battery, I'm fine with doing that. But if I can avoid it, that would be amazing. So I'm gonna put a time lapse on and we'll see if this turns on. Okay guys, so I only had it connected for about 5 minutes, and as you can see, it did turn on, which is super weird because like I said, seller said it had a bad battery. So I guess we'll set it up, but just, I guess one thing is that if they were using the original 5-watt power adapter that came in the box of this phone, it wouldn't have powered on. The reason why I think that is because on my current meter over there, which is built into my power station, I can see how much current it was drawing, and when it was on that low battery screen, it was drawing about 9 watts. So if it was connected to that standard 5-watt adapter, it probably wouldn't have had enough power to boot up. So I don't know, but let's set it up and see how it's going, and then I will charge it to 100% and make sure that the battery is working correctly. But for the most part, it seems to be okay for now. So, I mean, let's go ahead and set it up and let's go from there. So we're gonna go English, United States, and there we go, we're on iOS 11. So we're gonna go ahead and set up manually, connect to my Wi-Fi real quick, and we are now prompting activation. And there we go, we are activated with no issues. So let's go ahead and set this up. We will set up Face ID because I wanna do that. And there we go, we have now set up Face ID. And we also set up a passcode because we have to. I'm gonna set it up as a new iPhone. We're gonna skip the Apple ID setup. Agree. And we're gonna customize the settings. Of course, enable location services. We'll set up Siri and set up Hey Siri later. Don't share. We of course have the original display with True Tone. And then we have these cool navigation menus which show us how to use the iPhone X, because this would have been the first model with this at the time. So it kind of shows you how to do all that, how to swipe up, how to go home, and switch between the apps. You know, we all know these things nowadays, but back then it would have been completely different. And there we are on the home screen of iOS 11, and we immediately get a prompt saying we can update to iOS 16. I'm gonna actually click on details, because I just want to make sure, yeah, good. So we can't download and install it directly from the phone. We have to connect to iTunes to do that update. So that's great. As you can see, we have the settings page and we are on iOS 11, of course, by the background. And we have all the stock apps and whatnot on here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and check the settings page and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. And there we go. We have iOS 11.4 and a 64GB model. I did already know that it was 11.4. I had ran the IMEI prior to buying this phone to make sure that it was on iOS 11 and check the manufacturing date, because some of these iPhone X's were manufactured later in 2018, late 2018, stuff like that, and they can have iOS 12 on them from the factory. So you always have to just make sure. Especially with an open box device that has a bad battery, because you can't see the setup page, you can't see anything, you have to go off the IMEI. But that's all good. Let's check the battery health. I mean, I'm assuming it's gonna be 100%, and it is. Like I said, I will test that later. And we have, seems to be no issues here, you know, everything is working. We got the True Tone display. And we already know all that. So let's go ahead and actually set the stock wallpaper for the iPhone X, because I think that's really cool. So we do have the live wallpapers here. These three were actually added with the iPhone 6s, so they're nothing special. But all of these 6 up here were actually exclusive to the iPhone X. Or not exclusive to the iPhone X, but they came with the iPhone X. These 2 correspond to the space gray and the silver model, so since I have a silver model, I would apply that one. And then this one actually doesn't correspond to any of the models, it was just an extra addition. And then these 3 in the middle showed up in some commercials and whatnot, but they were never on the boxes. I'm gonna set the original one for the silver model because that's my favorite. And then we also had, for the stills, we had these 3 wallpapers, which have been in there for a while. We had the iOS 11, 10, and 9 wallpapers, and then all of these wallpapers, which are already in iOS, I believe. And then also these dynamic wallpapers here, which I believe, from what I recall, they were to show off the OLED display because it had very accurate, the true black levels, so this was kind of to show that off. But still pretty cool. Now, iOS 11 was known for being one of the most buggy versions. It didn't really add a lot from what I understand, and it was very buggy, both with the launch of the iPhone X and just in general. It was not a very significant version and it had some issues. Now, the one thing that I want to see, because I've seen this before, but I've never tried it, is doing that app switcher. Now, we all know that the app switcher now, you can kind of swipe up, and then to close apps, you would go like this and, you know, swipe up like that. Now, in iOS 11, with the launch of the iPhone X, that actually did not exist yet. It was added in iOS 12. So the original way you had to close apps, and let me open a couple here, is you actually had to go to the app switcher, and you couldn't do that. It would just bring you back to the home screen. I'll show you that again. If you swipe up, it just brings you to the home screen. So what you actually had to do was hold on the app, and then you would close it like that. This is actually almost like iOS 6. If you ever used that before, it has the little app switcher at the bottom, and you would hold on it and then close them. But really cool. I've never seen that before, so glad to have, you know, a device that has that. It's pretty cool. Obviously, the iPhone 8 on iOS 11 didn't have this because it didn't have those gestures. From what I understand, that was kind of what was most unique to the iPhone X. That gesture, you know, that was never on any other models because this was the only launch on iOS 11 with that bezel-less design. I mean, let's talk about what the iPhone X brought. It was the first OLED display in an iPhone, which was amazing. It was the first stacked camera setup, which we know a lot today, and we know those camera bumps. This brought a large camera bump from the camera island. This was the first iPhone to use the polished stainless steel. They have used stainless steel before, but this was the first to kind of have this polished finish. And on the iPhone 8 and the iPhone X, it came standard with this glass back. The iPhone, you know, did not have that before, and that was pretty unique. I mean, obviously we had a glass back in the iPhone 4 and whatnot, but this was the first kind of exciting thing and new design, which was, you know, all of the iPhones today still kind of have this design. This was also the first $1,000 phone, which is pretty much the Pro lineup of iPhones today. I believe the newest Pro, the 17, starts at $1099 for the 17 Pro. So the price, you know, a lot of people complain about, oh, iPhones are so expensive. Well, we've had a $1,000 phone for almost 9 years now, and it was definitely a big deal at the time, but I think people got used to it, and it's now kind of the standard. And like I said, that is the Pro lineup. And further to continue that Pro lineup, this was kind of the first time Apple was separating their lineup a lot. So this year, 2017, they had an iPhone 8, an iPhone 8 Plus, and an iPhone X. The iPhone X was kind of the Pro, and the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus were geared towards consumers, and then the consumers who wanted a larger screen. We still see a lot of that today. We have the base iPhones, and we have right now, which is the Air, which is kind of like a Plus, but also in between. And then we have the Pro and the Pro Max. So this is kind of the first time that we're seeing that lineup shift a little bit, which is, you know, what we see today, and we can give the iPhone X that credit unless you don't like that. So that was kind of the changes that it brought. Obviously better cameras, OLED display, like I said. So major design changes, Face ID, of course, you can see like that. Face ID started on this phone, and I think it was definitely better than Touch ID. A lot of people say they still miss Touch ID. I do like Touch ID, but Face ID is faster, so I prefer it a lot. But overall, iOS 11 didn't really bring too many changes. Like I said, it was known as a buggy version. It was not significant. And iOS 12 was more well received. It fixed a lot of those issues with the iPhone X. Like, I have an iPhone XS Max on iOS 12, and I've used iOS 11 a little bit, and I can tell that iOS 12 is much smoother, and I like it more. And that was also the first iPhone I had. It had iOS 12, so I'm very familiar with that version. But I've never actually owned anything on iOS 11 besides that open box iPhone 8 that I bought. So pretty cool to have the flagship iPhone X on iOS 11. Something that I've been wanting for a long time. I've been searching for one of these, and you know, one came up at a good price, so I bought it. But yeah, I think that pretty much clears up the video. So it turns out we didn't need a battery replacement in this phone. I mean, it's still charging, but you know, no issues there. It's still holding a charge. And I will charge it up fully and make sure it's all good. I will test it out with coconut battery and see kind of what's going on. Check the health and whatnot. But I'm kind of surprised. I thought it would really need a battery replacement, and it didn't. So that's great. I'm happy I didn't have to open it up, because I would have had to kind of grenade this phone. But it's absolutely stunning. Can't believe I have one of these in new condition. I will be putting a case and a screen protector and everything on it, because I just want to make sure that it stays as original. But before we end off the video, we gotta take off the plastic protective film. So let me go ahead and get my second mic set up so we can do that. And there we are. So there we go. Absolutely amazing, a open box iPhone X. This was super relaxing compared to my iPhone 8, which I had to do repairs on and whatnot. So it's a good, refreshing experience to do this, chill out a little bit, and get something that I've always wanted. This device obviously will not be up for sale. I know I might get a couple comments if this video, you know, does well, people asking to buy this. It is not for sale, maybe at some point. But this is an amazing device. I'm glad I have one in open box condition. Like I said, I have two others. They are in pretty much mint condition, but they're not on iOS 11, although they are unlocked and large storage capacity. I still don't actually know if this phone is locked to carrier or not, because I haven't checked that information. I will check it, but obviously it is a 64 gig model. I will, you know, put a case and a screen protector on this because it's still mint and I don't want to get it messed up. So as soon as it charges up and I test the battery, it's going straight back in the box, and it's gonna sit in my collection until I get the case and the screen protector, which at that point maybe I'll use it a little bit, but I don't really like to use these rare devices. But yeah, I think that's gonna close off the video for today. Amazing video. I'm happy about the outcome, of course. And there will be more content coming soon. I am going on a summer trip, so there will be scheduled content. There will be content coming out, but it's not exactly new content. It's new to you guys, but that would have been pre-recorded. But yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please stay tuned for new uploads, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.